Hey, welcome back. Time to drop those bricks, eh? So where did we leave off? We created our little match system here to detect the blocks and the minimum amount of match required. Now we just gotta drop the blocks. Otherwise they kind of look silly hanging around up there, eh? Okay, before I do that, let me tell you something that I changed. I had I changed two alterable values here in my dumb grid object, and those were for changing the background or the border type and the grid type of how the appearance of them. I moved those values in here to global values. Why? Well, I forgot that it's just the way I was gonna set up my levels. I needed to have them in the global values. Not important. Still works the same. So you just change this number to change the appearance. The border is now blue. Okay, good enough. Put this back. Okay, so I need to drop the blocks. What I want to happen is when there is nothing underneath the blocks, these blocks should fall. And I've set up a little demonstration to show you what I'm talking about. But I'm going to hide this so it's not intrusive and in the way. Okay, so they're still highlighted. Good. How I'm going to do it is I create this little object, and I'm bad with naming things, so I just called it the down mover. So it's going to move the blocks down for me. Okay. The key thing with this object is its hotspot. I have the hotspot of it set to the bottom of it. And keep a note that the hotspot, I should say, of my grid object is in the center. Okay, so what I want to happen is when I click on a match of blocks, okay, I want to create a block mover like so on an like if this block is empty, it should create a block mover. Okay, and then I want, when these blocks are overlapping the block, the down mover, they should fall down like so. Okay, and the process should repeat. Okay, and they drop down. Then it would happen again. Alright, and so forth. And so forth. And they keep dropping down. Let's see that again. One more time. Let's look for a good spot here. Okay, say for this, for instance, okay. I want these blocks to drop down. So it would create a down mover like that. And they overlap it. They fall down. Okay, and the process repeats until all the blocks are down as far as they can go. And the reason the hotspot is because when the down mover gets created at the grid object, I have to start over. It's centered directly in the center of the grid object, so that this block above it will overlap it. And I kept it half the width, well, almost half the width. Doesn't matter as long as it's not as wide as the block, because the block's width is 32. This has to be smaller, but enough for the block to detect it, overlap it. The reason I don't want the same width, because if I change the animation, or how do I explain this? Right now I have these highlighted. What if I wanted them to wiggle or jiggle or something? Well, the result of doing that, if these are the same width, it just screws the code up. Anyway, keep it the same width. Just, you have to trust me on that one. Okay, I'm going to delete this because this is what I made just to show you that little example. Added some new counters so I can use them later. I added this one to keep track of the amount of movers that I have on the screen at any time. I just gave it a qualifier. Not important. Anyhow, let's get on to doing this. I'm going to create a new group, and I'm going to call it Core Engine. And I don't want it active at start. Actually, I should keep it active just to show you. Ah, crap. Okay, we'll keep it active. Oh, I better... I'm getting ahead of myself again. I'm going to create another object here. What am I looking for? Interface. We'll just create a quick button here. Rename it Play. Like so. Play. I'm going to use this button to activate my groups here. Okay, I'm going to deactivate this. Create a temporary event here. And we'll say button clicked. Group of events activate Core Engine. And we'll activate the block match system. So, as you can see, the block match system's not working right now. Hit play and it works. There's a reason for this, and this is only a temporary thing, just to show you what I'm doing. Okay, so it's deactivated at start. Good. Oh, and this group has to stay above this group, or it may screw things up. Okay. First event. We're going to run a for each loop for all the grid objects. What am I doing? Okay. Number of blocks is greater than 0. That's the same as doing an always event. I'm going to start for each loop. We're going to call it drop. Sound good? Yeah, we'll call it drop. Okay. By the way, this will always be greater than 0, so this loop's always going to run when this group is active. Okay, so on each loop, drop. If the grid overlapping a block, if it's not overlapping a block, okay, we're going to create our down mover at the block. Okay. But like before, if I don't put another event in here, it's just going to keep creating a down mover at the block. So, to prevent that, I added a new alterable value to my grid, and I called it empty. So if empty equals 0, okay, create the down mover and set empty to 1. So it's only going to create one down mover at the block because of this. Okay, sounds good. Let's see if that part works. Play. Okay, so see, it created a down mover at every grid block that was empty. meaning not overlapping a block. So it keeps doing it. Right now I got 39 of those block movers. Keep going. Now we just got to make them fall, right? Okay, so let's say if this block is overlapping, don't do collision, is overlapping a down mover. Okay. What do we want to do? Well, we want to move the block down. So we're going to set the block to its Y position. Plus, here we're going to get the height of the block. Bottom edge minus top edge. Okay, so what essentially that's going to do is drop the block down its own height. It's the same as saying this, because we know the block is 32 in height, right? It's the same as saying that. Perfect. Let's see if that part works. Play. Well, see how but they all keep falling. Don't worry, we'll fix that. Okay. Now we want to reset the grid empty back to 0. So set empty back to 0. Okay. And when it overlaps it, we want to destroy the block or the down mover. So play. Perfect. See what's happening there, right? Thing is, it's happening so fast that you can't see it. But look at all the block movers. Why is there so many? Well, because when I click here, it's actually going to create a block all the way up, a down mover all the way up here. You just can't see it. And I've actually gone over my, see I'm at 1000 objects. So I've gone over my limit that was set in my frame. And I left it at 1000 just so that that'd be a reminder if I screwed up on my code here. Anyway, so if I click here, it's going to create a mover all the way up. That's why there's so many of these movers. Even though there's only, what, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 spots. Do you get it? Okay, enough of that. Okay, so we need to fix that. Well, one way I decided to do that is I'm going to create another event here. Now, on loop, I'm going to put it above this one. I'm going to add, I put a special value in here of the dumb grid, and I call it drop loop count. So I'm going to add to drop loop count 1 every time it loops through. So every time it loops through, I'll show you here. Because right now we have 196 grids, and each time this loop it's going to be on 196. Not that that makes any difference to what I'm showing you here. Create another event below this one, and we'll say when that value, drop loop count, is, I could do equal, but I'm going to do greater or equal to the amount of count. Where's count? The amount of grid block objects. Let's move this out so we can see a little better. Yeah. Okay, so I was going to add 1 to each time that loops. So when drop loop count equals the number of grid objects, okay, I'm going to set this to empty again, and I'm going to destroy this. But I also need to reset this number back to 0. So now what happens? Okay, play. Keep track of our block mover count here. So it's at 8. See what it's doing here? So it should only be the same amount of empty spots as how many block movers this should be. Cool. But it keeps going up. However, we can stop that. So, because I don't want any block movers. See, the thing is, okay, I have these block movers set to visible so you can see them, right? So what's going on? Why can't I see them? There's obviously at least 4 of them on the screen. Why can't I see them? Well, this is the thing I think that catches a lot of people. What's actually happening is the loop is going through so fast that it is actually creating them, but it's creating them and destroying them so fast that you can't see them. Does that make sense? But they are there. Sounds silly, but that is what's happening. But there is a way that we can do it so that there's never any more block detectors once all the blocks have fallen. A good way to do that is I'll switch this around. So if there are, I'll negate this. If there are no down movers overlapping the block, okay, and once it loops through, it destroys them all, so there won't be. Okay, just group events, deactivate. You know what? I forgot to do something. All of this should be inside of its own group. We'll call it drop the blocks. And then just drag all of these into here. Okay? So, going back to this, then just deactivate, drop the blocks. The only problem is, the blocks aren't going to fall now. But this is back to 0. The reason they're not falling is because we deactivated, right? Well, one way to fix that is just say user clicks the left mouse button. We'll put it just above here. Group of events. Activate. Drop the blocks. So, still going, but the block mover always ends up back at 0. Just the reason for doing that is having the least amount of active objects at any given time. And anyway, we got that working. That's what I wanted to show you. I'm not going to quite do it this way, but I will show you that in the next episode, because this one's almost 20 minutes. Okay, so that's it. I'll just leave it like that for now, and I'll come back and show you the rest. Play, blocks are dropping. Oh shoot, I gotta show you one more thing. I added another value. Where did I add it? I added it to the block. No, I didn't. Or maybe I just forgot to. Oh, yeah, drop speed. Okay, set this to something like 100. Okay, here's a little thing you can add to it. So when the blocks are falling, you can slow them down by simply saying restrict actions. We use calculations, and we use the global value. Where is it? Drop speed. Okay, so now when they fall, see how slow they fall? And you can set that obviously to whatever you want. Set it to 200. Okay, it's going to take a while for them to fall, but you get the idea. Or just simply leave it at 0 to have it immediate. Okay, I'm done for now. I can't stop playing. Alright, see you again.